Hi everyone, and welcome to the city of Porto in Portugal. If you love train travel and would like to see more train trip reports from Portugal and other countries around the world, please consider subscribing to Trains Are Awesome. As our Alfa Pendular tilting train slowed down and approached Porto, we could already tell that this was a gorgeous city. The only problem with the Alfa Pendular is that it stops at Porto Campanhã station, which is quite a ways outside of the city of Porto, even if it is the city's main railway station, offering connections to the rest of the country and even Spain. We decided to take the metro into the city of Porto. Now online you'll see a lot of advertisements for what's known as the Porto Card, but don't bother getting it from that lady. She says they don't exist. Whatever that means. Nobody was able to help us find one of those Porto cards, so we just decided to head to the metro station. Now the metro station is a little bit difficult to find, which is why we did it for you. Basically, if you face the station, you head left into a more modern part of the station. This has some extra platforms for the mainline trains, and if you make another left, there will be a staircase that lets you go underneath the metro tracks to the concourse and eventually the platforms. I ended up buying us an Andante card with just a single ride on it, so we can just go ahead and get started. We want to spend as much time in the city as possible. The card I'm using is a blue Andante card, which can be used anonymously. You can also use a gold Andante card, which has your picture on it and is more of a personal card. Here's the train of the Porto Metro. Now some of you may be wondering, wait a minute, that's a tram. You're right, this is a Bombardier Flexity tram, which are usually used on streetcar networks around the world, but in Porto they decided to build the metro system to tram standards. And you'll find out a little bit later in this video why that turned out to be.
Direction. Direction. Forward Express service.
Let's take a look at the route map of the Porto Metro. As you can see, there are 6 different colored routes labeled A, B, C, D, E, and F. All lines except for D travel on the same common tunnel underneath the city center, and they interchange with line D at Trindade Station. The tram we're currently on, line B, is the red line, and uses an old railroad line known as the Linha de Povoa. This also features express service, being one of the only metros in the world to do so. Aside from being a major metro interchange, Trindade is also a great place to begin your sightseeing journey through this gorgeous city. Porto is Portugal's second largest city, and the entire urban area has a population of almost 2 million. It's a very hilly city, but also walkable, and there's some great food places. city's history dates back to the Roman Empire, when this was one of the most remote cities that the Romans controlled. It's been under the control of the Moors, the Portuguese, and it was even the site for the world's first military alliance between Portugal and England. Now, aside from the metro network, Porto also has Portugal's very first tram network. There are still 3 lines today that use these classic trams, although they're more oriented towards tourists, commuters taking the metro, of course. And there's this.
Hey Lens, are you glad we came to Porto?
Another sight you must see in Porto, whether you're into trains or not, is the Sao Bento railway station. This station was built on the site of an old convent in the early 1900s, and the main hall is covered in over 20,000 classic Portuguese tiles depicting different scenes from the city. It's exclusively served by suburban trains, which provide an alternative way to get to Campanha station. Our next stop is the Porto Cathedral. Now, the square in front of the cathedral is where we were able to catch that gorgeous view that you just saw earlier. The cathedral itself was built in the 12th century. Now remember that one metro line, line D, that didn't use the tunnel with the other lines? I think we found it, and it's here at the Dom Luís I bridge. That's right, line D crosses the Douro River into the city of Vila Nova de Gaia, and it does so crossing this famous bridge. This iron bridge, built in 1886, spans 395 meters with a top height of 85 meters over the water, and the top deck is reserved for pedestrians and the light rail tracks, which were added in 2003. If you're afraid of heights, this might not be the ideal bridge to cross over by foot, but even sitting in the metro, you have to admit, this is one of the prettiest views in the world. On the other side of the river is the city of Vila Nova de Gaia, which has a cable car called the Teleférico de Gaia, which can bring you down to the water level. Time to take the metro back into Porto and head towards Porto Campanhã station.
I'm excited about the bridge.
Me too.
Because these are light rail vehicles that travel over pedestrian bridges and through metro tunnels, this is a really fun system to ride. Overall, we love riding the trains in Portugal, and there is still one more video review coming, so make sure to stay tuned for that. The best way to do that is to subscribe to Trains Are Awesome. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time.